Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Well, great news, everybody. Philanthropist George Soros has figured out how to deal with this refugee crisis that is, of course, causing the European Union and other countries to reel under the weight of just what they're going to do. The billionaire has called for imposing a new debt burden on Europeans to pay for the destruction of their countries. So as you all know, we're dealing with the Brexit in the news and all of this. Should they stay in the EU? Should they not? This refugee crisis, they're reeling under it. And he says, you know what? You just need to embrace this and throw money at them. I know that you're teetering on the edge of collapse, but this is the solution for you. He said EU leaders need to just embrace the idea that effectively addressing the crisis will require surge funding rather than scraping together insufficient funds year after year. Spending a large amount at the outset would allow the EU to respond more effectively. And so he's saying, don't just scrape what you can every year, borrow more money. This country that is teetering on the edge of collapse, he says, increase the value-added tax contributions from member states, but borrow more money from the financial markets, thus adding to the debt obligation that has swamped this continent and produced this so-called Eurozone crisis. Which is, it's causing anemic economic growth and unemployment. People are very upset there all across the board. So now you're flooding their country with refugees and giving them a lot more care and welfare benefits than you're giving the actual citizens who are there paying the taxes. People are rightly pissed off. But George Soros has a solution for that, too. He is calling on Europeans to pay for that as well. He wants the Europeans to pay for the anti-immigrant sentiment of the member states, and he's calling for Europeans to pay for the effort to undermine opposition to immigration and the political elite, because people are really pissed off, and so a lot of people are opposing immigration, opposing the globalist trade deals, and rule by unelected authoritarian EU grandees. So there you go, the whole problem, reaction, solution, and he wants you to pay for the whole damn thing. Well, how about we just stop indiscriminate killing and war in the Middle East, and then maybe everyone wouldn't be rushing to flee those countries, and at the very least, have them assimilate once they get to the West and not the other way around, because you know what? If the West was so bad, why is everyone rushing to get here?
Mahatma Gandhi supposedly once remarked that Western civilization would be a good idea, suggesting that the West was backward and uncivilized. Well, Gandhi was wrong. The West is the best. Why do you think everyone wants to move here? But when they do move here, they bring the worst aspects of their own culture with them and create ghettos, supplanting the original culture. The left then supports and encourages these ghettos because they believe in cultural relativism. This idea that all cultures are equal. Well, they're not. Some cultures are clearly better than other cultures. 620 million Indians, half of their population, defecate in public. UNICEF has to run campaigns teaching them how to use toilets. Public defecation causes bacterial infections, which lead to childhood malnutrition and death. Indian shitting and pissing in the street is part of their culture. The government also has to put up signs everywhere telling them not to litter, because Indians aren't generally too fussed about cleanliness. That's why India is widely regarded as a shithole. Shitting in public also seems to be popular amongst many of the Muslim migrants now arriving in Europe. Universities and other institutions are also having to teach them how to use toilets properly. Shitting in public is not acceptable. I don't care if it's part of your culture. Shitting in public is bad. Some cultures are better than others.
That's racist!
In Afghanistan, police officers and military commanders like to rape young boys. The practice is called bacha bazi, literally boy play. Raping young boys is part of their culture. When US Marines blew the whistle and tried to intervene, they were told by higher-ups to look the other way because it's, quote, part of their culture. The New York Times reported on how US troops in Afghanistan would hear the boys screaming as they were being raped by Afghan police who had brought them on base. Raping boys is not acceptable. I don't care if it's part of your culture. Raping boys is bad. Some cultures are better than others.
That's racist!
In Israel, Orthodox Jews suck babies' penises. The practice, known as metzitzar pei, involves rabbis performing oral suction circumcisions on 8-day-old babies. They suck the baby's penis to cleanse the wound following circumcision. Sucking babies' penises is part of their culture. The practice has caused 17 cases of infant herpes in New York since the year 2000, including 2 deaths. Sucking babies' penises is not acceptable. I don't care if it's part of your culture. Sucking babies' penises is bad. Some cultures are better than others.
That's racist!
In China, South Korea and Taiwan, people like to eat tiger penises because they think it's a potent aphrodisiac and it prevents erectile dysfunction. There's no scientific evidence at all to support that claim. Tiger penis is a delicacy served in restaurants in parts of China and Southeast Asia. Eating tiger penises is part of their culture. Demand for tiger penises creates a market for poachers. As Chinese immigration to the West has increased, tiger penis remedies are now available in some European countries. According to the EIA, 1 tiger every single day is killed for its use in traditional Chinese medicine. Tigers are endangered. There are less than 4,000 tigers left in the wild. Eating tiger penises based on some bullshit belief that it's an aphrodisiac is unacceptable. I don't care if it's part of your culture. Eating tiger penises is bad. Some cultures are better than others.
That's racist!
In sub-Saharan Africa, there are millions of modern-day slaves. In India, there are as many as 14 million slaves. In Mauritania, as many as 20% of the population is enslaved. Slaves! People being bought and sold. People being compelled to perform forced labour under threat of violence. Even at the height of slavery in the West, only 1.4% of white Americans owned slaves. But we're still being lectured about how evil we are, despite the fact that the West was the first to end slavery. Where's the outcry over the 30 million people who are enslaved right now across the world? But I guess just owning slaves is part of their culture, right? Slavery is unacceptable. I don't care if it's part of your culture. Slavery is bad. I'm proud to say that it was the West that ended slavery virtually everywhere else, but it still persists in some parts of Africa and India. Some cultures are better than others.
That's racist!
Listen, I'm not saying there aren't good things that we can take from other cultures, and I know that Western culture isn't perfect, but it's the best we've got. In terms of individual freedom, economic prosperity, intellectual advancement, technological progress, the arts and medicine, the West provided the blueprint for the ascent of humanity. The West is also the most tolerant place in the world towards other cultures and invites them with open arms, even at the risk of obliterating itself. So why are we constantly browbeaten into being ashamed of the West? I'm not ashamed of democracy. I'm not ashamed of the Renaissance. I'm not ashamed of the Enlightenment. I'm not ashamed of how the West ended slavery. I'm not ashamed of coming from the most tolerant place on the planet. Look at the fruits of Western civilization. An increase in health, wealth, comfort, freedom, and life expectancy unparalleled in human history. That's why we shouldn't be ashamed to defend Western civilization against cultural relativism. We shouldn't be bullied into sacrificing our own culture and allowing it to be supplanted by inferior cultures in the name of political correctness. The West is the best, but it's only going to remain that way if we safeguard what made it great in the first place.
A lot of people ask me, what is the most important area of Infowars that runs the whole operation that is having such a big effect against the globalists? And I've said it over and over again, it is you, the listeners and the viewers, that send us the intel, the news tips, that support the broadcast, that spread the word. You are 90% of the operation or more. You don't stand beside us, you stand at the heart of Infowars. When I talk about the people at Infowars, from customer service, the shipping department, being just as important as our anchors, our researchers, our investigative journalists, and myself, it's absolutely true. Without this team that we've built over the last 20 plus years, we wouldn't be able to do any of what we've been doing. And that's what's so exciting, because we finally built up to a point where we now have the launch pad. Introducing AutoShip for InfoWarsLife.com, a new way to save time and money when you stock up on InfoWarsStore.com products. Again, ladies and gentlemen, when products are sold out, you're unable to get them, sometimes for months, but we hold back the products for people that have already signed up for AutoShip. When you choose AutoShip before checkout on your order at InfoWarsStore.com, we'll give you 10% off and give you guaranteed delivery of out-of-stock products that are on your AutoShip list. Plus, we're giving you free shipping on all orders above $50. Listeners have been requesting this for years because it's so easy to forget to reorder the products when you need them each month. Now it's finally here. AutoShip at InfoWarsStore.com and InfoWarsLife.com. It's easy. Go to InfoWarsStore.com, select your favorite product, click on the AutoShip, and choose how often you want us to send you another order. As you know, I coined the term 360 win, and with the new AutoShip feature at InfoWarsLife.com, it's a sure win. You add to that free shipping on orders of $50, it is a can't lose. Visit InfoWarsStore.com and save 10% off on your next InfoWars Life order by selecting AutoShip at checkout and get free shipping on all orders above $50. That's InfoWarsStore.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.